My name is Nicole. I am 29 years old. I thought I was happy. I had a boyfriend named Corey. We were together for 4 years. I loved him with all my heart. We met when I was 25. He was kind, funny, and sweet. At least that's what I believed. When we first met, I felt lucky. Corey worked at a small repair shop. He fixed phones and computers. I worked at a school office. We did not have much money, but we had each other. Or I thought we did. We lived in a small apartment in the city. It was not fancy. The walls were old. The sink leaked sometimes. But I didn't care. I cooked dinner every night. We laughed at silly movies. He held my hand when we walked to the store. He said I was his world. I believed him. Every Sunday we visited his mom. Her name was Judy. She was warm and kind. She gave me old family recipes. She told me I was like a daughter. I felt safe. I felt loved. I never thought he could break my heart. But things started to change. At first it was small. Corey started coming home late. He said he was working extra hours. He said he was saving for a trip. I believed him. I wanted to believe him. But something felt different. He stopped looking at me the same way. He didn't laugh at my jokes anymore. He stayed on his phone too much. When I asked who he was texting, he said, "Just work stuff." Then he would smile, but not with his eyes. His smile felt cold. One night, we went to a friend's birthday. Her name was Angela. She had been my friend since college. She was tall, pretty, and always full of jokes. Everyone liked her. I liked her too. At least I used to. At the party, I saw something strange. Corey was talking to Angela. That was not strange. But the way he looked at her, it was not how you look at a friend. He smiled too much. He leaned in too close. When I walked over, they both stepped back fast. I asked, "What's funny?" They both said, "Nothing." I forced a smile, but my heart was heavy. After that night, I watched them more. Angela started calling me often. She asked if I was free to hang out. She asked if Corey was home. I thought she just wanted to talk, but now I know better. One day, I saw a message on Corey's phone. It was short. "Just 2 hearts and can't wait to see you." It was from Angela. My hands shook. My heart dropped. I couldn't believe it. I wanted to think it was a joke, a mistake. Maybe she sent it by accident, but then I saw more messages. "Last night was perfect. I miss your smile." And one that said, "Does she know?" I felt sick. My whole body went cold. My face burned. My eyes filled with tears. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the dark, listening to the quiet room. Corey came home late again. I asked him, "Who is Angela to you?" He looked at me like I was crazy. He said, "She's your friend. What are you talking about?" I showed him the phone. His face changed. His eyes went wide. He looked at the floor. "It's not what you think," he said, but I knew it was. "You lied to me," I said. "For how long?" He didn't answer. He just sat down and held his head. "I didn't mean to hurt you," he whispered. Before we continue with the story, I'd love to hear from you. Which part of the world are you listening from today? Leave a comment below. And if this story touched your heart, please subscribe for more simple and emotional English stories. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw things, but I didn't. I just stood there, quiet, still, broken. He didn't even say sorry. He just said, "It just happened." Like love is a mistake. Like cheating is a small thing. I told him to leave. He packed a bag. He said he needed time to think. I said, "Don't come back." After he left, I called Angela. She didn't answer. I sent her a message. "You were my friend. You knew. And you still did this." She never replied. I blocked them both. Days felt like years. I went to work. I smiled at people. But inside, I was not okay. I cried in the bathroom. I cried on the bus. I cried when I made dinner and saw his favorite plate. I asked myself, was I not enough? Did I do something wrong? But deep inside, I knew the truth. The problem was not me. It was them. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. I walked outside and sat on the cold steps of our building. The city was quiet. The air was cold. I looked up at the dark sky and thought about everything. I thought about our first kiss. I thought about our late-night talks. I thought about the time he said, "I will never hurt you." But he did. And he didn't even try to fix it. I started remembering little things that didn't feel right back then, like how Angela stopped asking about me, like how Corey always smiled when she was around, but looked bored when it was just us. I had missed the signs. I had trusted too much. That night, I made a promise to myself. I would not beg. I would not cry in front of them. I would not go back. I had already lost too much of myself. It was time to find who I was again. I deleted all his pictures. I threw away the sweater he left on the chair. I put his things in a box. I didn't want any part of him in my home anymore. The next morning, I looked in the mirror. My face looked tired. My eyes were red. But something was different. I felt a little stronger. Just a little. But it was a start. I knew healing would take time. But I also knew this. I would not let a liar and a fake friend break me forever. They broke my heart, yes, but they would not break my future. After Corey left, the apartment felt different. It was too quiet, too empty. His things were gone, but his shadow stayed. I would wake up in the night and still expect to hear him snoring. I would cook breakfast and reach for 2 plates. Then I remembered. I was alone now. I went to work every day, but I was not myself. My smile was fake. My eyes were tired. My coworker Julia noticed. She asked me one day, "Are you okay?" I forced a smile and said yes. But she didn't believe me. She put her hand on mine and said, "You don't have to be strong all the time." Her words stayed with me. I was trying so hard to act fine, but I wasn't fine. I missed him. I missed the idea of us. Even though he betrayed me, I still felt lost without him. One Friday after work, I walked past the coffee shop where we used to sit. I stopped at the window and looked inside. For a moment, I thought I saw him there, but it was just someone else. My chest hurt. I kept walking. That weekend, I stayed home. I didn't want to see anyone. I turned off my phone. I made tea and sat on the couch with a blanket. I started to think about my life before Corey. I used to read more. I used to laugh more. I used to feel free. I went to my old bookshelf and picked up a book I loved. I had not read it in years. I sat down and read the first page. It felt good, like finding a small piece of myself again. The next day, I made a list of small things I wanted to do. Go for a walk in the park. Watch a funny movie. Cook my favorite meal. Not his favorite. Mine. These were simple things, but they felt new again. Each day, I did one thing from the list. It helped. Not a lot, but enough. One morning, I got a message from Angela. It was short, just one sentence. "I'm sorry." I stared at the screen. My hands started to shake. I felt angry. I felt sad. I didn't reply. What was the point? A week later, I saw her by chance. She was at the grocery store. She looked surprised to see me. She smiled, but I didn't. She walked over. "Nicole," she said. "Can we talk?" I shook my head. "There's nothing to say." "Please," she whispered. "I didn't mean to—" I cut her off. "You knew we were together. You were my friend." "I was confused," she said. "He told me you two were not happy." I laughed. It was a bitter laugh. "And you believed him?" She looked down. "I made a mistake." "No, Angela. You made a choice." I turned and walked away. My heart was racing, but I didn't cry. Not this time. At home, I sat down and took a deep breath. I realized something. I didn't want their guilt. I didn't want their pain. It was not mine to carry. I had my own healing to do. That evening, I went for a walk. The air was cool. The sun was setting. I watched the sky turn orange and pink. I felt calm. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I could breathe again. I saw a woman walking her dog. The dog ran up to me and licked my hand. I laughed. The woman smiled and said, "He likes you." We talked for a while. Her name was Melissa. She lived nearby. She asked if I wanted to join a small walking group on Sundays. I said yes. That Sunday, I joined the group. We walked by the river and talked about silly things. Work, food, movies. No one asked about Corey. No one knew my story. It felt nice to just be Nicole, not the girl with the broken heart. Over the next few weeks, I started to feel stronger. I changed my hair. I bought a bright yellow scarf. I smiled more. I even laughed sometimes. One afternoon, Julia invited me to dinner. I almost said no, but then I said yes. When I arrived, I saw another guest. His name was Ben. He had kind eyes and a warm voice. We talked about books, music, and food. He made me laugh. I didn't feel ready for anything new, but it felt good to talk to someone who listened. Really listened. That night, I thought about Ben. Not because I wanted to fall in love again, but because he reminded me that good people still exist. The next few weeks felt quiet, but calm. I stayed busy. I worked, walked, cooked, and read. Sometimes I met Melissa and the group on Sundays. Other times, I stayed home and lit a candle while I listened to soft music. The apartment didn't feel cold anymore. It was mine now. Just mine. No memories I couldn't handle. No Corey. No pain hanging in the corners. One Saturday morning, I was cleaning the kitchen when my phone rang. It was a number I didn't know. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to pick up. "Nicole?" a man's voice said. I knew that voice. My heart dropped. It was Corey. I didn't say anything at first. He waited. Then he spoke again. "Can we talk?" I closed my eyes. His voice still made my chest tight. I said, "There's nothing to talk about." He sounded tired. "Please, just 5 minutes. I won't call again after that." I thought for a moment. Then I said, "Fine. 5 minutes." He asked if we could meet at the park near my old work. I said no. I chose a coffee shop near my building, a place with people, a place I could leave if I wanted. When I saw him again, he looked different. His hair was messy. His eyes looked sad. But I didn't feel what I used to feel. My hands didn't shake. My heart didn't race. I sat down across from him. "Thank you," he said. "You look good." I didn't smile. I waited. He looked at his hands. "I messed up," he said. "I know that. I hurt you. I hurt us, and I don't expect you to forgive me." I stayed quiet. He continued. "Angela and it didn't last. It was wrong. I knew it. She knew it. But I was stupid." I looked at him. "You weren't stupid. You were selfish." He nodded. "Yes, you're right. I thought I was missing something, but I wasn't. I had everything with you." I felt a tear in my eye, but I blinked it away. "Why now?" I asked. "Why come back now?" I had to say sorry, really sorry. I couldn't live with myself. I stood up. "I hope you find peace, but don't come back again." He nodded. He didn't argue. He just said, "I wish you happiness, Nicole." As I walked away, I felt something strange. I felt light. I had waited weeks for him to say sorry, but when he did, I didn't need it. I had already started healing. I didn't need his words to move on. That evening, I looked around my home. It felt warm. It felt safe. I made tea and sat by the window. I thought about how far I had come. I had faced the worst pain. I had been betrayed by someone I trusted and someone I loved, but I was still here. A week later, Ben texted me. He asked if I wanted to go for coffee, just as friends. I said yes. We met on a sunny afternoon. He wore a green shirt and brought a book he thought I'd like. We talked for hours. We laughed. We shared stories about our work and childhood. He didn't ask about my past. He just saw me as I was now. Over time, Ben and I grew closer. Not fast, not heavy, just slow and kind. We went on walks. We shared simple meals. We sat in the park and watched kids play. I liked that he never tried to fix me. He just listened. He gave me space to breathe. One night, as we walked by the river, Ben stopped. He looked at me. "Nicole," he said, "you make everything feel calm." I smiled. "You make me feel safe." He reached for my hand. I let him. It wasn't a new love. Not yet. But it was a new chapter. A peaceful one. At work, things got better too. I started enjoying my job again. Julia and I became good friends. Sometimes we had lunch together and talked about weekend plans. I even joined a small book club with her and some of her friends. Angela never reached out again, and I never saw Corey again after that coffee shop. I didn't want to. I didn't need to. One morning, I looked in the mirror and saw something I hadn't seen in months. My smile. Not a fake one. Not a forced one. A real, full smile. It wasn't just on my lips. It was in my eyes, too. The pain didn't vanish, but it didn't control me anymore. Sometimes I thought about the old days. I thought about how blind I was, how much I loved someone who didn't respect me. But I also thought about how I stood up, how I didn't beg, how I chose myself. And that choice changed everything. It was spring when I truly felt like myself again. The trees outside my window were full of green leaves. The air was warm, and the sunlight touched everything softly. My heart felt like it could breathe. Months had passed since Corey left. The pain had faded, not all at once, but slowly, like ice melting in the sun. Each day I got stronger. I woke up early, made breakfast, and looked forward to small things. A new book, a walk in the park, a funny movie. I smiled more. I laughed without guilt. I didn't wait for an apology anymore. I had already moved past it. Ben and I continued to spend time together. We didn't rush anything. We didn't talk about love or promises. We just enjoyed each moment. I liked that. He didn't push me. He didn't expect me to be over it. He just showed up, again and again, with kindness, patience, and time. One evening, I invited him to my apartment for dinner. I cooked something simple, pasta and salad. He brought flowers, not roses, just yellow ones that looked like sunshine. "For your table," he said, smiling. We sat down and talked as we ate. We shared stories about our childhood. I told him about my little brother who used to hide toys in my shoes. He laughed and told me about the time he got lost at the zoo. After dinner, we sat by the window. The sky was dark and the stars were bright. I looked at Ben and felt calm. Not excited, not nervous. Just calm. It was a nice feeling. Safe. I reached for his hand. He held mine gently. "Thank you for being patient with me," I said. Ben looked at me. "Nicole, you don't have to thank me. You've been through a lot. I just wanted to be here." I smiled. "And you are." Weeks turned into months. Summer came. I took a short break from work and visited my cousin in another city. It felt good to travel, even for a few days. I walked by the sea, ate ice cream on the beach, and read under the sun. I felt light, like the past had finally let me go. One evening during that trip, I sat alone near the water and thought about everything. Not in a sad way, just like looking at an old picture. I thought about Corey. I thought about Angela. I thought about all the tears I cried, but I didn't feel broken anymore. I felt proud. Proud that I didn't stay in a place that hurt me. Proud that I found the strength to leave. Proud that I learned to choose myself. When I returned, Ben picked me up from the station. He smiled when he saw me. "You look happy," he said. "I am," I said. And it was true. Life began to feel full again, not because of a new love, not because of someone else, but because I worked for it. I let go of pain. I made space for peace. One Sunday, I met Julia and Melissa for lunch. We sat outside at a small cafe and talked about silly things, movies, shoes, food. At one point, Julia looked at me and said, "Nicole, you're glowing." I laughed. "Maybe it's the sunshine." "No," she said, smiling. "It's you." I thought about that later. Maybe I was glowing. Maybe not on the outside, but inside, because I had been through darkness and found my way out. Later that month, Ben asked if I wanted to go on a short trip with him. "Just a weekend by the lake," he said. "Fresh air, quiet, and no city noise." I said yes. We went on a Friday evening. The lake was calm. The trees around it were tall and green. We stayed in a small cabin. It had no TV, no internet, just us and nature. It was peaceful. On Saturday, we took a boat out on the water. I sat at the front, my feet touching the cool water. Ben rowed slowly. Birds flew above us. The wind played with my hair. "It's so quiet here," I said. "Too quiet?" he asked, smiling. "No," I said. "Perfect." That night, we sat outside and watched the stars. The sky was full of them. I leaned on his shoulder. "I feel lucky," I whispered. He turned to me. "Me too." In that moment, I knew something important. Love doesn't always come with fireworks or big words. Sometimes it comes like this, quietly, gently, after a storm. When we returned home, I felt like something had changed inside me. I no longer felt afraid to trust again. I didn't feel scared to open my heart, because now I understood something. People may hurt you, but that doesn't mean you stop living. That doesn't mean you stop loving. A few weeks later, I saw Angela. It was by chance. She was walking alone near the same coffee shop where we had all been once, months ago. She saw me. She froze. I kept walking, but she called out my name. "Nicole, wait." I stopped. She walked over. Her face was pale. Her eyes looked tired. "I know you don't want to hear from me," she said. "But I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. Truly." I looked at her. I didn't feel hate. I didn't feel anger. I just felt nothing. She was a chapter that had ended. "I hope you're well," I said softly. Then I walked away. That night I told Ben about it. He listened quietly. "Do you feel okay?" he asked. "I do," I said. "I don't need anything from her anymore. I just hope she never does that to someone else." He nodded. "You're strong, Nicole." I smiled. I didn't feel strong for a long time. "But you are," he said. "I see it every day." As the months passed, life grew steady. Work felt good. Home felt safe. My heart felt full. And when Ben asked me one evening if I wanted to meet his family, I didn't panic. I said yes. Meeting his family was simple and warm. They were kind and welcoming. His sister hugged me. His mom made tea. His dad told old stories. I laughed more that night than I had in a long time. After that weekend, I sat on my bed and looked out the window. The sky was clear. The city lights blinked below. And I thought, this is what healing looks like. It's not loud. It's not quick. But it's real. I once gave my heart to someone who didn't deserve it. I was betrayed by a person I loved and a friend I trusted. But I came out stronger. I found peace. I found myself. And in time, I found someone who saw me, truly saw me, and never looked away. And that, I think, is the greatest gift of all. I hope you have enjoyed the story. Like and comment if you want to hear more soon.